So you're in wholesale real estate. How is the coronavirus going to affect your wholesale business? Well, here in Phoenix, we're selling more houses this week than we did last week, and last week than we did the week before. I can tell you personally, in my business, we're having no problems right now selling properties. Now, we're in Phoenix. I know the situation in New York, Florida, state of Washington, different parts of the country have their own micro economies. Okay, so that might not be the same, but we have been red hot in Phoenix. And I pulled some data just now. I monitor the data in our local market every week, and you should too. That's the biggest thing. And so stick around. This is going to be a relatively short video, but stick around because it's all going to help you for the long term, regardless if the coronavirus goes away tomorrow, the stock market bounces back up quickly, and all this becomes a thing of the past, or if this, turns into something like 2008 that, has a ripple effect and takes down everything. Either way, this is going to help you win watching this video and stick until the end, I promise. So the first takeaway is that you got to be all over your data. You got to know in your market how many active listings there are at a given time and how many active listings are on the market. You should be monitoring it per week. So I know right now in Phoenix, there's 10,591 homes on the market. Now that actually includes the greater Phoenix area, and it also includes homes that are on the market for more than 90 days. Now, the reason I say for more than 90 days is because when you're in a hot market, houses that have been on the market more than 90 days are simply way overpriced. They're what I refer to as FU priced. Okay, so when I take the Phoenix area and I take away all the outlier, like outskirts, rural areas that are kind of considered Phoenix Metro, but they're really not. If I take those out, and if I take out everything that's been listed over 90 days, those FU listings, okay, it drops from 10,500 to 5,500, almost gets cut in half. Okay, so that's the type of inventory we're working with. So now let's look at closed listings in the last week, okay? In the last month. Well, in the last week from yesterday, which was Thursday, March 12th, okay, going back a week to Thursday, March 5th, we had 3,477 homes go under contract. The week before that, Thursday to Thursday before that, we had 3,019 homes going under contract, okay? So if you can see, you can get a sense of how hot the market is in Phoenix. We're literally like putting under contract almost as many houses as we have on the market, like from 30 to 50% of the active inventory is going under contract a week right now. That's insane. Now, some of those contracts are going to fall out, obviously, but either way, like this is a red hot seller's market right here in Phoenix. I know that's not the case in all markets, okay, but hang with me because I'm going to get to how all this stuff applies to you regardless of what your market is in right now, what your market's doing right now, what it was doing before the coronavirus, and what it could look like depending on what happens with the coronavirus. Okay, so we had let's just call it 3,500 houses sold last week in Phoenix, went under contract. The week before that was 3,000. The week before that was 2,558. Let's just call it 2,550. And the week before that, which was Thursday, February 13th to Thursday, February 20th, was 1,863. So we've been jumping. This coronavirus thing has been gaining more and more national news and media and school closures and closures of sports and all this crazy stuff. And yet the housing count of houses going under contract keeps rising here in Phoenix. Now, I don't know if that's the case in your market, but that's the case here. My point is, there's fundamental analysis and then there's technical analysis. So right now we're seeing things happening with the stock market where when you look at the technical analysis, and I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this, but you have a stock chart going like this, just heading straight down, okay? That's scary. It's breaking through lower levels before it could go into a free fall. Now, who knows? Hopefully it doesn't happen. And either way, how would that have an effect on you and your wholesale business? So here's my point, guys. You got to watch the data in your market. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to run these numbers next week like I run them every week, and I'm going to continue to closely monitor the situation because by far this week, I would say the news, the overall closures, everything has like doubled from a week ago. Okay, so I think we're pretty early on in the ripple effect, but China factories have been closed. Okay, so the amount of goods coming into the US is slowing down. Businesses are losing business. They're going to have to make layoffs. Regardless, if everything turned around tomorrow, there's going to be a ripple effect. How does that relate to wholesaling real estate? And that's the point I want to get into today. So guys, it doesn't really matter what happens out there. Like in 2008, people were crushing it in wholesale real estate. Okay, I teach this at my intensives. When you're in a hot market, like we've been in here in Phoenix, you sell your properties easier, but you also acquire your properties harder. There's more competition, more people get into the game that are marketing. So you're competing with more wholesalers and realtors. More realtors get into the game too, telling the homeowners, hey, you can list your house and I'll get you so much more money. So you have all this extra competition, but then when you do get the deals, they're easier to sell. And you can sell them for more money, faster, with crazier terms to buyers that want to buy them and want to flip houses, and that'll buy them on smaller and smaller profit margins because the market gets competitive. Okay, so what happens if the coronavirus does go crazy? Everything stops. Nobody can buy a house. Well, here in Arizona, there's not very many houses for sale. So I think it would take a lot before we would really see it impact our pricing. Our pricing is just going up through the roof right now. But regardless, let's say you're in a market where that's not the case. Let's say you're in a market that's flat or maybe even trending down. What does that look like if the coronavirus does make that happen, accelerates that, and your real estate market falls into a free fall like we saw it back in 2008, 2009. I got into this business when that was happening. I had been in the car business and I said, well, shoot, car loans aren't, they're not giving car loans right now, so it's hard to sell cars. What better time to get into real estate? There's less competition. If I can succeed now, I'll succeed forever. And I have. We've thrived over the last 10 years in this business. We've grown into a multi-million-dollar wholesale operation. We've grown into a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio that actively puts passive cash flow into my bank account every month. And it's been a fun ride. We've been able to take that knowledge over 10 years, help other real estate investors. So I hope you guys are subscribed. If you're not, make sure to click the subscribe down there and the bell. And if you're getting something out of this, please leave your takeaway down in the comments. But here's the thing, guys. When the market goes up, it's easier to sell the properties. It's harder to get them. When the market goes down and when it goes into free fall, it's easier to get the properties because there's always going to be sellers that are going to be having situations and they need to sell their house, right? Someone died, whatever, they need to move. Like life doesn't stop, right? So things might change, spending habits might change, etc. But natural life occurrences happen in good markets, they happen in bad markets. So people are always moving. There's always going to be some sellers out there. And there hasn't been a lot of sellers actually here in Phoenix. That's one of the reasons pricing has been going through the roof. There's not a lot of sellers because there's way more buyers coming in from other states trying to take advantage of the not only the sunshine and the weather that we have here in Phoenix as well as the booming economy, but also the real estate prices. We're so much cheaper than California, Oregon, Seattle, all these places around us. That makes it a great place for retirees, for people going to college, for people wanting to start a business to move here. And so prices are going up. And if you want to sell your house, you're like, well, my house is doubled in value, but if I sell it, then I got to buy a house at high. So how does that really help me? So inventory is low. But what happens when everything crashes? There's still sellers, right? You have less competition because I promise you a lot of realtors fly. A lot of wholesalers are going to fly. So all of a sudden you're going to have less competition if you can stick it out and keep marketing and keep having a positive mindset. And it's actually going to get easier to convert sellers and easier to convert sellers at lower prices. Here's the catch. It will get a little harder to sell your properties. You're not going to be able to just blast them out to all these fix and flippers that just got into the fix and flip business 6 months ago, or this is their first or second or third fix and flip. Who stays? The real buyers. The hedge funds will come around. The local guys that buy for passive cash flow are still there. My mentor in the passive income game, Chris, he used to buy 80% of my inventory from 2009 to 2012. And then all of a sudden prices got kind of high and it slowed down and he'd buy maybe one a month. And over the last, I would say 3-4 years, Chris buys a house from me maybe once a quarter. He's probably buying 3, 4, 5 houses from me a year. Why? I can sell the houses so much higher to these fix and flippers that'll buy on these short margins. And it doesn't make any sense for Chris to buy that property at that price for passive income. But what happens, guys, when the real estate market crashes, okay, and there's still sellers out there that need to sell, and I'm able to get those properties at a discount, well, hey, all of a sudden now those are great to the buy and hold investors, the real investors, okay? So they're still there, and guess what? They're easier to work with. You can sell them every deal. So you might go from, like, right now my buyers list is 18,000 buyers, and if you guys need to get a cash buyers list on steroids, you can click this video and I can talk about that. I teach that. There's an overnight trick you can use to get a cash buyers list on steroids and get a list like that. But and a lot, my list has also organically grown over the last 10 years. Which is incredible because the trust factor, the branding, all that kind of stuff in your local market is going to help you sell your properties quicker for more money, sight unseen, etc. But my point is, when the market shifts, a lot of those buyers go away. And so now you might be selling to a small pocket of buyers, and maybe they only buy 1, 2, 3 properties a month. But if you've got a few of those, you're good to go, right? And if you're only doing 1, 2, 3 properties, maybe you're just selling to the same 1 or 2 people all your properties. So the real buyers are going to stay, okay? And it'll just be easier. So point being, when the market's going down, it's easier to get the properties under contract. It's easier to get better prices. It's a little tougher to sell them. But if you have a real buyers list, you're good to go. When the market's going up, it's harder to get the properties. It's more expensive to get the deals. And you're going to pay more for the deals. You might have to work special terms to get the deals, but you can sell the deals easier once you get them. So what's going to happen with the coronavirus? I don't really know. My son's Little League got shut down last night. I was supposed to go out to Vegas to watch the Oregon Ducks this weekend playing the Pac-12 tournament. That got canceled. First, it was no fans. So I was like, crap, I'm not going to Vegas. Then it was like, we're canceling the tournament altogether. They're canceling March Madness, hockey. I believe spring training out here in Arizona has been canceled, which sucks. I'm glad. I just took my kids to a game last weekend, thank goodness. But anyways, guys, who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen in the stock market. I don't know what's going to happen with the virus. I know that if you are healthy and you're young, I don't think we should have a spirit of fear. I know in certain age groups that it is can be more dangerous than others. I know that large gatherings of people while there's a virus going around isn't the best idea. My local church, actually, my pastor just sent out an email last night. It's a huge church here in Phoenix. Shout out CCV. They've suspended weekend campuses for 2 weeks. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you're going to church, don't not go to church because your church isn't gathering. The church is not the building, right? It's the people. So we're having online services. We're gathering in small communities. We're watching it online. And you guys can go to cconline.com or ccv.church and pick any one of the campuses, and you can stream my church this weekend. I promise you, it's amazing worship. It's amazing message. And they're going to be talking about warrior. And you got to have a warrior spirit in wholesale real estate. That's for sure. So anyways, guys, coronavirus, how's it going to impact real estate? Depends what market you're in. Depends what happens over the next coming days and weeks and months. And we'll monitor it and keep you guys posted. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. But either way, when the market goes up, when the market goes down, you can make a ton of money in this business. So just keep doing it. Keep marketing, keep talking to sellers, and you will get those deals sold.